hello from our Dragonfly classroom, and I wanted to offer a little mini lesson for you to consider practicing at home. So one of our works that we have practiced, we have the dressing frames. Yes, do you remember those? Well, they are such a fun activity to practice if you're thinking of ways to fill your time doing your work at home. So I wanted to offer a little suggestion. So one of them that we have, do you remember the zipper frame? We would practice zippering a zipper. So one way you can practice this at home, well, of course you could practice zipping your own jacket and putting that on and zipping it up. But if you're not quite there yet and you're still working on getting the mechanics of zipping, you can take your jacket and put it on a chair, just like I did with my sweater. So then I can come down here at the base of the sweater and start putting the zipper in, holding it down with one hand, and then pulling it up, zipping it right onto that chair. So that's one way that you can practice using a zipper frame if you haven't quite figured it out when the jacket's on your body. Putting it on a chair like this can be a really helpful way. And then you can just sit, like I'm just right here on my knees and I'm just practicing, and I'm unzipping it, and then I'm going to take it again, thread the zipper through, and hold one side, and then pull it up. So this is a great example of the zipper option. Now I'm going to show you the button frame. So remember how we had our button frame? So if you want to practice buttoning, you can also find one of your favorite shirts, maybe one of an adult's too, at home if you don't have a shirt with buttons. And you can put your shirt, I have my little jacket on the chair, and then you can start down here at the bottom. I always like to start at the bottom when I'm buttoning to make sure they're evenly going in. And then I'll button the next one and all the way up to the top. So my sweater is a little bit small for this chair, but you can find maybe your one of your adults will have a nice big shirt that has a lot of buttons, and then you can practice buttoning all the way up to the top, and then you can take them off from the top all the way back down. So another example of our dressing frames is, remember we have our snaps? So the same thing with the snaps. You can practice on a shirt and start at the bottom, and then you can take those snaps and snap them all the way up with a shirt that has snaps on it. And then you can practice taking the snaps from the top and unsnapping them all the way down. Another one I want to remind you about is the bow tying. So with the bow tying, you might have something that's a shirt that has bow ties, or some other object around the house. But another thing you could do is just spend some intentional time with a pair of shoes, and you could take your shoes and prop them up onto a little table, and then you can just practice with the shoes sitting on a table and just practice untying the shoes and then tying them. Yep. A little bow, wrapping it around and sending it through. And the last one I wanted to remind you about that we have with our dressing frames is the buckles. So the buckles, you might find a piece of clothing, a jacket, or maybe even some shoes of an adult that have buckles. And you can practice with the buckle frame technique and whatever that looks like for you. So remember, with our buckles, we have it and we send it through, we find the hole and come through. Some other way to practice with the buckles would be even if an adult has a belt, and you can practice with the belt buckle, and maybe you want to wrap the belt around your chair and practice buckling that way. So friends, that's what I have for you. Just a friendly idea of practicing with the dressing frames, practicing zippering, practicing buttons, snaps, bow tying, and buckles. So I hope you have an amazing time as you practice these skills. And it can actually be fun to just set maybe even a 10-minute timer and just work on it over and over until you're done with your work. So I encourage you now to begin thinking of what your next work will be. And when you decide, catch a bubble, and you can head on to your next work. So thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to our next video. Hasta luego.